Welcome to Slasher Sunday. Okay, so we've been having a lot of success lately with the recent slasher picks.
Yes.
Now, that's kind of like misleading a bit because I've already seen all these movies and I picked them, but uh, they're films that I remember liking, but I didn't remember that
hmm
well. There's definitely things in here that I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Stuff like that. But I've just kind of been revisiting some titles that I remember being good, but I don't remember enough about, and it's been fun. We did um, Just Before Dawn,
Yes.
and then last week
Bad
we
Dreams.
did Bad Dreams, which I
We
really
really
loved,
liked that a lot, yeah.
and then Curtains, which I
Yeah.
also really enjoyed the hell out of. Another completely overlooked slasher film, and I would definitely want to talk about this one. Feels much different
Mm.
than the typical '80s slasher fare, right?
Yes.
Because in those movies, the ones that we're used to, it's usually like a group of teenagers who go to like the woods or go to some like uh you know um summer camp or something
hmm
like that. And this one is like there's something, I don't know what the word would be. There's something a little bit more um mature and elegant about this one, right? Like,
It's like a refined slasher.
yeah,
It has a lot of giallo feel to it as well,
mm,
which I think
yes,
is also what gives it the vibe that you're talking about. Like it's very different from typical like teenage girls getting like stabbed.
but it's also the age of everybody.
Yes, they're all like slightly like they're not older women, but there's like they're in their 30s and
Yeah,
then their 40s, 50s maybe like
yeah,
they are older women, I guess. They're not teens or early
they're
20s.
not
They're
teens.
not supposed to be
Yeah,
these like youths.
no,
And I really enjoyed this one though. I
yeah,
think that the vibe it feels it's kind of surreal at times,
yeah,
but in a grounded way if that makes sense. Like it's not super trippy, but it has these
it's
moments
nightmarish.
where yeah, the imagery is very nightmarish. Um the mask is probably my favorite mask that I've seen in a slasher in a long while. It's terrifying. Like what is that? Why did they skin an old woman and take her face?
Yeah.
It looks so weird and like fleshy and wet.
So yeah, I think something with this film that makes it a shame that people don't discuss it more when talking about underrated slashers. And I think that um, it probably falls onto a few underrated slasher lists or whatnot, but I just don't hear it really talked about all that much, honestly. And I frequent horror groups pretty much my entire adult life that the internet's existed. Um, I think what's the shame about that is that this film offers not one but two very iconic, scary looking elements, and
Yes.
that, of course, is the mask, which she already mentioned, and then you know, not to be overshadowed, uh, the doll.
The
The
doll.
doll is effectively and equally as creepy to me as the mask itself. So
Yeah, the doll is.
I honestly don't understand the significance of the doll all that much in this
I
movie,
don't either.
or the old woman mask. I don't know if it
I.
has like a purpose
Yeah.
specifically to like the character and their motivations why they picked that
So
mask.
I feel like I could throw an explanation on both of them, like an
Okay.
interpretation. I think they're both symbolic. Obviously, the doll I think is representative of like young girls
Youth,
and their
youth,
aspirations to be actresses and like that excitement to pursue their passion.
and that
And the
age is
old
coming for
woman,
you.
yes, is the aged actress who can no longer get parts, who Hollywood discards because she's not the youthful beauty that she used to be. Like she becomes the hag.
I
So that's
think
what I would say
I
they
think that's a
mean.
great interpretation. That being said, because that is good, and I agree, that probably is what it is. It doesn't make as much sense to me. It would make sense to me if our main chick here, um, is that Samantha? I've been really good about writing names down lately, but with this one, I don't think I did. Is Samantha's the main girl? Yeah, right. That's her.
She's the
The
one that
one with the
goes to
big
the
eye.
institution. Yeah. She really is a beautiful woman. She has a very unique face, but I found her to
Yeah,
be
it's
like
her.
really pretty in a very interesting way. Like she has,
She's just got one bigger
I
eye
know,
than the other.
but
It's fine.
like that's what we always talk about where it's like there's elements where it's like it would be ugly on somebody else, but it somehow makes them interesting. I don't know.
It makes her more
Anyway,
intense
it's
looking.
just yeah, she has a cool
Um,
face.
but getting back to what you were saying about your interpretation of it would make sense to me if Samantha was the one who was doing the killing because because Jonathan Stryker, the director, is going after the more youthful chicks, right? He's like betting the younger girls, and she's like locked her away because she's like outaged the part.
Yeah. Well,
But it's the comedian chick who's
Lynn, that's who I was
still
just looking.
like early 30s, maybe
But
late 20s. She's not that old, so I mean, maybe she's just making a statement of like what he did to her. But I mean, what would she even know about that?
no, okay, to what I would say to defend my point is that even though she's not old already, she is a struggling actress who's not getting the parts that she wants, right? Like she
Right,
does comedy, she does stuff that is very like
but it's not because of her age.
it's not because of her age, but it's like the older she gets without getting that big starring role,
This is like
like
her fear.
right, the harder it will be for her to ever get those parts because at a certain age she'll stop getting even offered for it. So that's why I think that it works with her.
So why isn't the doll more? I mean, I guess because it's a horror movie and that you want to have that like visual. But I don't know. I feel like the doll. I love the look of the doll,
I do
and
too.
I'm a big fan of it. That being said, I feel like the doll, if in what you're saying is true of the interpretation you have, shouldn't the doll be more pretty? Shouldn't the doll be more representative of like, you know, beauty of youth?
But it's kind of like a twisted version of your childhood
Mm,
self that's like that it used to be joyous, it used to be something that brought you pleasure and was fun, and now it's like the
distorted.
pressure of it, right? Like I'm not living up to it. Yeah, it's distorted. But I love the doll as well. I would 1,000% love to own this doll.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Dolly Dearest. It has a similar like the angry feature.
I like what you're saying about the idea that like the doll is twisted because of like the way she sees youth now
Mm,
is like this twisted version of what was once seen as like beauty and potential is now like there's a stain on it, right? It's
sure.
like a tainted memory of beauty when you're youthful, and so the doll's reflecting it.
Yeah, because I
I like
mean,
that.
all
I mean, I
the
think we're probably giving this movie way more credit than it
I
deserves,
don't
but
know.
maybe not.
I felt like there was a lot in there, but and the other part too is like so not only is the youth tainted, but it's like it's competition, which is something all the women that are there they have a moment I guess when they're having dinner where they're kind of getting along, but there's this like edge to their conversations of like I know that you're the like you are competition, you're the ones I have to defeat, like I'm not going to get that buddy buddy with you. And so instead of I feel like they don't really connect as women in the same profession experiencing the same like discriminations and everything. It's sort of it reminds me a little bit of in a very like vague way of Neon Demon. A little
Hmm.
bit it has
Okay.
that same kind of philosophy to it, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
um but yeah, I thought this was really cool. The giallo elements especially, I really liked those.
Did she? For some reason, I'm completely blanking on the end of this movie. Um, not I remember her laughing in the nut house, and she
Mm-hmm.
was like, or not laughing, but like
Laugh
she's
crying.
doing like an Audra performance for everyone. I remember that.
Yeah.
But what happens to Samantha? Does she just kind of
She
like
stabs
witness
her.
it?
She stabs her.
So Samantha dies?
Yeah, because they have the conversation. They're in the kitchen, and she's like, "I killed the director," haha. And then she was like, "Ah!" And then came at her with a knife and stabbed her,
And she died.
and she died.
So she
She
did
killed
perish.
all of them.
See, I would think because she she started killing before she even got there, right? Like she
Yeah.
killed one of them before they even got there. One of them was taken out on the way, very like Friday the 13th,
Mm-hmm.
right? When Annie gets killed
Mm-hmm.
on the way to the camp. Um, so she was kind of already doing this stuff, whatever. You would think that once Samantha showed up, Samantha kind of embodies everything that she's like fighting against. Like that's
Yeah.
like everything that or fighting for, maybe I should say. She's like the representation of like exactly what her message is. Like the older actress who was discarded by a director to
Yeah.
go after younger, prettier girls. Right? So shouldn't she be like, you know, I just feel like the conversation in the end is like, why aren't you on my side? He did this to you, right? I think that would have been a really cool and interesting conversation for them to go back and forth where she's like, I might have been in a nut house, but I ain't crazy. Like
I
that's not how you defeat the
yeah.
patriarchy, right? Like
I
I think that
think
conversation could have been cool, but that just didn't really transpire.
yeah. I think it's because I don't think Lynn is in that I don't think she's that cognitively aware of what she's doing. I do think that she's being propelled by her fears, not a sense of justice, because she's killing off the competition so that she gets the part. She doesn't want the director dead. She wants the director to make her a star. I'm a star. That's what she wants.
You're calling her Lynn? Where are you
Yeah.
seeing that?
There.
Patty?
Oh,
That's the character name. Patty.
Patty, sorry.
Are you sure
I looked
that's
because
her?
that was both. Yeah, that's her. I'm sorry. Lynn
No, it's
Griffin is
okay.
the actress. Patty is the character. So Patty wants to be a star. She doesn't want the director killed. So her and Samantha don't have a connection there because in her mind, Samantha just ruined her chance of getting the part of her dreams.
She is in Black Christmas? Hmm. What part does she play in Black Christmas? That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have to look into that. Anyways, okay, let's jump back to the beginning. So, the director of this movie, whose name is not Jonathan Stryker, he decided to credit himself as Jonathan Stryker to match the character's name in the movie.
Oh.
His real name is Richard Kupek, something Kai.
I do not know how to say that name.
Something like that. I have no freaking clue.
Kupka? Kupka?
Kupka. This may be it.
I don't
But for some reason, just on IMDb, all it says is that he optioned to put his name like that. I don't. Yeah, like the opening credits gives the fictional character John Stryker credit as director. He just decided not to place his name on the credits.
It
I
kind of
wonder if
makes
that's
it
like
fourth wall breaky.
it's meta, but like,
Yeah.
is it because he's not proud of the movie, or because he just is like it's like he's being funny?
I don't know, or maybe he's like,
Because if I made this movie, I sure as hell would want my name on it.
sure. I hope he's not unproud of the film because it's really cool. I think it's to be meta. I think it's to be a bit self-aware too and be like, I'm the director that like would be impacting these women, you know.
I don't know. Was
But
that a
it's
last minute
cool.
decision, or was
Yeah.
that something from the beginning? Like, I mean, I get it. The guy in the movie is a director,
Right.
so he decides to do that. I don't know, but anyway,
He's gross too. The director in this.
Oh yeah.
So
But he's
gross.
meant to be.
Yeah, he is.
And so he does a good job of like he's so the director in this, of course, is linked to one of your favorite films that we just watched. He's Chief Vernon in Killer Clowns from Outer
Oh
Space.
yeah, I was wondering.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. I was wondering why I thought he looked familiar.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Wow, he definitely is a good actor because I think he's shitty in both movies, like the character he plays,
Yeah,
but in totally different ways.
yeah. I mean,
So that's cool.
I've seen him in tons of stuff like Animal House and Dirty Harry, and he had a really successful career as an actor. But yeah, he's very sleazy in this, and
Yeah.
then of course in Killer Clowns, he's insufferable.
Yes.
So, but he plays both of those very well. So credit to him for making himself so hateable. Um, okay, so Star Wars is kind of famous for its wipes, right?
Mm.
So like um, in every Star Wars movie, they have like these specific kinds of wipes that they like to do to transition to the next scene. And this film, it takes its title very literally, and we get certain scenes that literally have curtain wipes,
Yeah.
but like actual, like physical curtains on the
Yes.
screen that open up. That was pretty cool.
Super cool.
That was
I
really
really
cool.
liked that.
I was a big fan of that idea.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, I like when people throw things in like that. That just adds to the like charm of the movie
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and I like, yeah, you can always tell what time period certain things are set in, not only because everyone's picture here on the cast is in black and white. Shouldn't be though. It's like 80s.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know why they're all in black and white. But like when Jonathan Stryker and Samantha go to like to have her committed, they walk in and the receptionist or whoever is like, what's the man's name? Like she's like, what's your name? And he's like, Jonathan Stryker, and she's like calls him and she's like, Jonathan Stryker's here and he has a woman.
I know.
Like what
Like
time
why wouldn't you
period?
just ask her name?
Yeah.
What?
And a woman. And she's a woman.
Yeah.
Right? That's
Yeah.
saying this. Like you don't see this
Yeah.
as a problem. It's not problematic. It's like find out the man's name and then announce if he has a woman with him.
That's always what's interesting about watching older films is that like the collective consciousness of the time is so different from where we are now in 2023.
Yeah.
So she's just supposed to be this catty, like bitchy receptionist,
but
and
isn't
she only
like
cares
a famous
when
actress?
That's okay. I wondered that because when she finds out who it is, she's like asking for an autograph.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah.
But I thought she was asking for an autograph from the director, which is very weird because I feel like not that directors don't give out autographs, but most people I thought would want to get the actor's autograph because they're the ones that they see on screen and all that.
It would depend because I think that he's supposed to be like Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah, he's like
something.
a huge director.
He's a name,
yeah.
Right? There's very few directors' names that matter to people.
Yeah.
You can throw out maybe 10 directors' names that people know.
Yeah.
Right? Steven Spielberg, Quentin Tarantino. There's certain names. Scorsese maybe. Like, and then you start going down from there. Maybe Christopher Nolan, maybe. That would be like more like younger audiences. Kubrick.
Yeah.
Right? Certain names like that, but most directors are not known. Most directors' names are not like famous to people. They would hear, I could name 100 directors off the top of my head and, that I think are great, but no one would give a shit. People are like, who? Even directors who make tons of popular movies. That's the other really wild thing is you can have a ton of hits.
Yeah.
As a director,
and people still don't know
have
who you
no
are.
idea what your name is. They just see from the director of, and they're like, ooh, they don't want to remember their name for some reason.
It's odd.
It's because they never have a face to put to the name.
Yeah.
It's because they're not seeing the person. And frankly, a lot of the times it's because people remember actors' names because they're attractive to
Right.
them.
Yeah.
So they're like, I remember Brad Pitt's name, right? Because
I know who that is.
they got a thing for him. So
Yeah.
anyway, okay, um, yeah, the way, Jesus, the way that like Jonathan talks to anybody in the
Oh my
film,
God. Yeah.
but just like you, I don't know.
He's.
It's basically like your days of acting are done. Why don't you just die?
Oh my God. He's so pretentious.
Yeah.
And like what she's doing, like her method acting of like getting committed to an insane asylum to like really be around insane women and like that is
This
commendable and it's dangerous
Yeah.
and very like, you know, for him to just kind of be like, he doesn't even tell her. She just finds out through the newspaper that he's going forward, you know, without her as the role.
They seem to be in such good standings with one another when the movie starts.
Yeah, they're
when,
like, haha, look at
when
this.
He's like, I don't believe it, and she laughs, and they're like talking and all that. That it seems like do friends, but my God, does he change?
It's kind of like,
how long is she in the nut house?
Feels like she's in there for months.
She feels like she's in there for years.
No, it's not years.
It feels like a long ass time.
I think it's months, but I don't know if we get told how long it's in there. But it's almost like, you know, he has this big movie planned, and it's like he decides to, instead of casting an actress that he's worked with before, you know, knows that she's a great performer and all this stuff, and wants the role, he wants to open it up so that he can have sex with a bunch of young, attractive women. Like that's what it feels like he does.
It's interesting. I'm sure that this is probably how it is to a degree when it comes to like people wanting roles because of who's attached to them. But like, I do think that is kind of a point to the movie. Like that's part of like the message is like, these chicks are there and they're like, they straight up say when they meet each other, like, I'm willing to have sex for this part, I'm willing to kill for this part, I'm willing all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm Audra, oh, I'm Audra. But then they also admit multiple times throughout the film, while they're talking to him specifically, who's Audra. Like they don't literally know anything about the character. No. It doesn't seem like anyone, like, Samantha commits herself to a mental institution. So Audra is a crazy person or what? Like what is this character? We don't really get to know almost anything about her, and no one seems to know anything about her.
Audra feels like a representation of like actors, like female, like actresses. Is what it seems like. But I agree. I mean, like, yeah, we don't really get to know about this character and like why she's so coveted, other than that it's this famous director, you know, creating it.
When she's doing her opening monologue in the beginning of the film, when he's like, I don't believe it.
Yeah.
That's Audra.
I think that's Audra.
That's the script for that movie.
Yeah.
So the script exists.
Yeah.
Right. And but I'm definitely getting the sense that Audra is a created character for this film and not some, you know, adaptation from some book or something.
No, she feels like a totally new character.
Because they're all asking, like, who is she and this and that. And it's like, if a book existed or if it was like a popular character in that world, they should know what she acts like.
I don't remember all of the opening monologue. Is she killing her director?
It's something along the lines
because
of,
that's
like,
more meta.
She wants to kill somebody or something.
I know, but is it a director?
Maybe. We'd have to go back and rewatch. We watched this a few days ago now, and I've watched like 7 things since.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's why I always want to record these videos like the second we finish them.
Right.
Because we always come here, and then I've watched 10 things since, and I'm like, what happened again?
Yeah.
I can only hold so much information. I watch like 3 movies a day, and they do start to blend. But anyway, I don't really understand who Audra is.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody else does, but I honestly do think that's kind of the point, is they're all dying to play this role, literally.
Right.
And it's like a role that could not even be interesting, or they don't even know. They don't even care. They're just like, he's doing it. It's got to be a big role.
Yeah.
Right. It's a main role in a Jonathan Stryker movie. I gotta be in it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all they care about.
So they're like, oh, I'm the perfect Audra.
Like,
based on what?
How do you know that?
Based on what? You don't know.
Yeah.
They'd barely do any auditioning. I'll tell you that. The
Their
auditioning
auditions
seems to be sex.
bed.
Yeah.
Which they doesn't Patty say that she would have sex for the role? Because one of the other actresses is very serious about it and is like, I would kill for it or whatever. And then
she's supposed
Patty's
to become a red herring. But Samantha is like the ultimate red herring, even though she is the one who kills him.
Yeah. I also want to point out, because I thought this when we were watching it, I don't know if anybody else got this sense, but all of the actresses felt like they were from different times for me. For some reason, they all felt like they were from different eras.
Yeah.
Like they just were very different.
That could be on purpose.
It could be.
Right? They're representative of all the different, time periods. It all ends up the same. Right? It's always the same gig. Even if you're from the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, Hollywood's always been the same.
Yeah, cinema likes to exploit women when they're young and just throw them away when they're old.
That's true. And
it is true.
That's still true.
It's messed up.
It's still true to this day, for sure. But the audience agrees with them, because when a woman isn't as appealing to them anymore, they don't have any interest in seeing them.
Sure. And then how many women are, fighting against the clock, trying to hold on to what they looked like when they were 20, when they're in their 60s.
Plastic surgery, and sure.
Yeah. It's a
so that's
huge problem.
It's a fault of the audience as well.
It's just society.
Yeah.
Society idolizes youth always, for reasons of like that's what continues life, of course, is the youth. But obviously, as people know, when they age, like you don't become less of a person as you get older, and aging is a privilege. If you make it to your 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, it's a privilege.
Well, I mean, obviously, I think it's kind of what you're touching upon, but it's an instinctual factor of like, that's when you're most virile and fertile.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what people really gravitate towards, is like, it's the strength, it's the ability to procreate, right? Because we instinctually, like our very driving force is to reproduce and continue on the race.
Yeah.
Like continue on the human race. So youth is seen as like, you can procreate, you can impregnate them or whatever. So I think that's just that's like the natural instinct of it all. But
there's also like, yes, maybe that is true to some extent with women, but I feel like that's more of like a male perspective. Because like the woman
but men
like
run Hollywood.
Right. Well, and that's why. Because like the women in this, right, they're all ages. There is a younger, like the girl that's roller skating is like the youngest of them. Ice skating, sorry.
That's okay.
Which I love her. I love that scene.
She sleeps with him.
She does sleep with him, and she's like crying, gross. And it's so awful. But just what I was gonna say is that even the older women are not like, they're not 80s, 90s, like cannot have sex because they could break bones or something. They're still like, they probably still have sexual desires and feelings, and the only thing that changes is that they can't have kids anymore. But I don't know.
80, 90-year-old women?
No, like when you're in your like 60s, 50s and 60s.
No one's in their 60s in this movie.
They're in their like 40s, and I thought Samantha was like 50s. She's
50s.
40s. 50s, like,
of course people
you can't have kids.
Sexual at
and you're
50.
still, but like it's funny because I do think that part of the message is like, oh, you lose your sex appeal and stuff, and it's just funny because they obviously still have sex lives, and there's it's just
correct
funny.
Me if I'm wrong, but isn't like a woman's like sexual peak of her like desires and whatnot like in her like mid to late 40s and early 50s? Isn't that like when women are like the most
like horny?
Yeah.
Is that like what before menopause happens?
Right.
Basically,
it's like the last ditch effort of the body to
I don't know.
Like,
I'll let you know
fuck me
how.
now.
I'll let you know how horny I
running.
get when I'm there.
Anyway,
the ice.
we're always just talking about shit we don't know what we're talking about.
I know. We're just talking.
That's the fun.
Yeah, we're just saying our thoughts.
I should type into Google at what age are women most horny, and it'll probably bring me to Pornhub.
It'll be like horny women, horny MILFs.
We get the longest stalking scene in the history of stalking scenes here that ends up not even being anything because it's the chick's boyfriend, who's like doing some rape fantasy bullshit, and it goes on forever, and then like when do we even get any boobs in the shower? Can't even remember.
No.
You usually write that down if we do. So
I don't remember if we saw them after, but we don't in the shower because she gets out and like covers herself up. But maybe when he gets to her, he might show her boobs. I don't remember. She had smaller boobs if we did see him, but yeah. And then when he catches her and they like make some comment like, "Should I be the pizza delivery guy again instead or whatever?"
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, these guys are like,
they're
like you're a different person every night. It's fine. I'm not judging them for it. I'm just like, it's funny.
It's such a long, drawn out scene for it to not be anything.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if it was a killer or something, I still think this scene's too long. Regardless, the stalking scene is straight up like 2 straight minutes. And it's like, oh my God, I get it. He just like walks 1 foot, 1 step forward.
Yeah.
She's like moving a little bit, 1 step forward kind of stuff. And it goes on for like 2 straight minutes. I'm like, oh my God, get to the point already.
Yeah.
And then when he gets there and it's just like her boyfriend, which I see coming from a mile away. Yeah. Probably because I had an hour to think about it and be like, this is probably her boyfriend.
This is probably a fake out.
So this was like the most pointless scene. In fact, you could cut that entire scene out of the film. But like,
I think
we're trying to build character and we're introducing each character and what they are. And this one's got like some sexual kinks.
Right.
Right. And the other one's a comedian. And the other one, I get it. It's just, this is so drawn out for no fucking reason to me. The doll dream is great.
Oh my gosh. So cool. I loved that.
We got a very horny, like, I don't know, 12-year-old boy who's like checking out her ass and is like,
she's like,
is there something else I can get? Or no, like, he says something about payment, like he can take like sex for payment or something. He's like $10 for gas. $10 for gas in 1983 to fill up a VW Bug, dude. What? No,
that's a lot.
That's got to be like a fee for him pumping the gas too, right?
Probably. I actually don't know how much.
He probably quoted her high.
I don't know how much a gas would cost then.
Is there any other way I can pay? And he's like,
I love her response though, where she's just like, they need to be 14 or something, like at least 14.
Oh yeah.
She's like really catty.
Like, I'm into older men.
Like 14.
Like at least 14, 15. That was funny.
That was funny.
Yeah, that's. I mean, hey, can't blame a kid for trying.
It's like all the men that she interacts with are sexualizing her because it's only the 2, right?
all
2 of them.
One of them being like 2. What So, shit, I didn't look him up. I've seen him in a million things, and I want to find him really quick. This actor who I've seen a trillion times, Michael Wincott, who was just in Nope. He's that photographer. But, dude, he's been in so many things that I've seen over the years. This guy is definitely the most recognizable face to me in the whole movie. He's like, I don't know exactly who he is in the movie. Like, he's just there. He says who he is, doesn't he? Like, he's my assistant.
I think that's what he is. He's just here to, like, watch or something. And
so he, like, bangs one of these girls in the hot tub.
Yeah.
But then, like, vanishes. And I don't think we ever find out his fate, to my memory. I don't remember ever stumbling on his body or anything, but do you remember?
I don't.
Finding
and I feel
his
bad
body somewhere?
I feel like he would die.
Yeah, I honestly,
Wait a minute,
I remember waiting for like a reveal of him, and I don't remember it ever coming.
I'm trying to think if she finds him.
Because he's supposed to be a red herring.
Yes, he is supposed to be a red herring. There's a lot of red herrings in this.
Yes.
The girl that he's sleeping with, she's the one that's like running through this backstage area or whatever. The like they're in a house, but like they have like all the props and stuff in
Uh-huh.
some section, and she finds the other girl who's hanging.
Okay.
I was thinking that maybe she found his body there, but I honestly don't remember.
Yeah. He just kind of like
I don't remember what
he
happens to him.
literally exists only to get a girl undressed, which okay, that's fine. And to disappear and become a red herring for the film.
Yeah,
Like he
I
really has. I don't even think. Does he even have a line? Does he say anything in the hot
I
tub?
don't think so.
I honestly don't even
I don't think
remember
we
him
ever get
talking.
close up. They're just like laughing and like kissing on each other.
Yeah, his character is
But
completely
yeah,
pointless.
it is like you said, just to be a kind of throw people off the scent.
Yeah, it's gonna be him.
Yeah,
No, he got laid. He's okay.
he got laid and maybe escaped. We don't know.
He got
We don't
laid.
remember.
He got laid, so he's not mad about anything. He's like, I got laid. I'm good. I'm gonna leave. I'm happy.
Uh,
um. All right. Let's see. Of course, he sleeps with the youngest of them to start. The
yep.
who is the figure skater, and like the figure skater, I don't like want to critique anybody's um skills or whatnot, and I know they hired like a real figure skater to like do her parts, but like these are like the most basic ass figure skating moves I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess I don't expect her to go out there and try to do like a triple or something. Like that would probably be dangerous, and she's just kind of maybe warming up. But she was just doing like these really like simple spins, like just like one, just like a little like, and then it was just like 10 of those in a row. And I was
Yeah.
like, nothing else? You got nothing else to. If I hired a figure skater to be a body double, I'd be like, that's all you got for me?
Well, I feel like she's just having fun. Like she's not pushing
Okay.
because okay, she does say something that character because they like somebody like questions why she does it, and she's just like it makes me happy or something. Like is her response like something along those lines. So I feel like she's
Yeah,
just
but
kind of
no, but she does
casually
say
out
something
there.
along the lines
Like
of
she like
like,
wakes up every day.
she says something along the lines, something about like, that it's like her life, her like
Hmm.
she loves it, like it's her everything kind of thing. It's her passion or
So you think
whatever.
she should be more like extreme
I
when
just
she's
think
out there
that
being
there
like
should be a little more. No, I just think there should be a little bit more variety to her skate when they make it a big deal and also hire an actual figure skater to go out there. You would think the figure skater would go out there and be like, I want to. I'm on film. I want to show off my skills.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I guess okay, I will say this, and this is probably why it didn't happen. Now that I think about it, is because of framing and
Mm.
not
Being
catching
able
the
to show
actor's
her
face,
yeah.
right? Because obviously it's not the same girl, so they're probably like, you can't move too much because if you're like doing a bunch of like turnarounds and
Like it's
whatnot,
not
we're gonna get
gonna
your face.
yeah, and it won't line up with the shots of the actress who probably is just like a basic ice skater.
I mean, that's all fine. You can fudge that kind of stuff, but to me, it's probably because it's harder to hide who it is.
Yeah. That's
But
fair.
I don't know. I still would rather her go out there and do like real tricks because they hired an actual figure skater. I'm being ridiculous now, but that's that.
I still really liked the scene though, and like the hand of the doll coming out of the snow.
The that whole scene is it's one of those things you just kind of have to accept, right? I don't know why when she's being chased, she looks like she's running.
Oh yeah.
And she's on figure skates. Why wouldn't she be like skating? And she's like a pro figure skater supposedly. She should be able to like move.
Get away fast.
She should be able to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe because this is just a smaller pond.
Yeah.
And maybe she's like out in the snow now.
That's
and now
what I
she's
thought.
walking.
I thought she was in the snow.
But it looked like she was still on the ice. It doesn't.
I don't
matter.
know. I thought she was in the snow.
But she digs up the doll that's buried. And then the mask as it's coming at her, and she has like a scythe.
Dude, that's scary. That was a scary shot.
Which one's which? A sickle is a sickle, right? The sickle's
is
the handheld
scythe the
one.
long one.
The scythe is the long one, right?
She has the sickle.
She has the sickle.
It looked freaky. I was really scared by this mask. There's just something about the way it looks. Like I think I even compared it to like the haunted masks in the Goosebumps story. like in the TV episode. Like it looks like a real person's head. And the way people's eyes look behind there, or I guess Patty's eyes, even though we do see Samantha put it on as well.
Yeah.
It's just creepy. It really creeped me out. I would love to get this mask to own.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool one, and would love to have it. The director being all skeezy and like for the role, he's like making them seduce each other and feel each other up and pull their tits out of their tops and stuff. I'm like,
bro,
this is when you gotta, as an actor, as a human, just be like, this isn't for the part.
No, like you're just using me,
right?
But they, it's like they all want it so badly.
I get it,
right? But yeah,
but that's that Harvey Weinstein kind of bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, you gotta fuck me for a part.
He kind of looks like Harvey Weinstein.
That might have been
intentional.
the case. Yeah. There were people trying to tell us a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then I love how like he comes in and he's like straight up telling this girl like, you're crazy, and then moves in and starts to kiss her and fuck her. Like, oh, you're totally mentally wrong, blah blah blah, and then but I'll still fuck you.
Yeah.
He's the worst.
He's awful.
He's definitely the worst for sure. Okay. One thing that's totally nonsense in this movie is that so Samantha finds them in bed together, shoots them, he falls out the window. Somehow he falls through the window and back through another window down here.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how that's possible, but supposedly it happens. So anyway, she shoots a gun in the house. Someone falls through the window. 2 dead bodies laying down, like one in the house, one down. And then we cut to like a minute or two later, and one of the chicks is just casually hanging out around the house.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
There's no way that you're in a house and a gunshot goes off and people fall through windows dead, and you're like, you didn't hear it, or you're just like, nah, no big deal. There's no way she didn't know that happened.
There's no way.
This happens a lot in movies where clearly people would know something happened.
Yes.
But they were just like in Halloween Resurrection, I hate to bring that movie up, but like, this is the Myers house, a small house, right? And there's people like yelling in scenes and talking really loudly and everything, and no one can supposedly hear them in the house. It's like, bro,
like, really?
They're one freaking room away from you. This is an old house. It's definitely got no like, soundproofing to it. Like,
the acoustics.
It's so dumb. That's so dumb. A gunshot, people falling through windows, and she's just like having a bowl of cereal. Come on. So stupid. But whatever.
Well, the one that's in the kitchen at the end obviously is Patty.
Yes.
So I feel like I mean, still, she should have reacted to the gunshot and been like, that's not me.
I guess she's crazy.
But she is crazy.
That's fine.
She is crazy.
That's fine. But she's revealed to be the killer. So I like that we get the kind of double twist. I find it odd, though. I guess it's still trying to hide the fact. But I think it would have been cooler when she shoots him. I guess it is obvious who it is because she's standing there in the door. But then it shows, like, it's her outfit. Okay, never mind. It just shows it. It frames it in a way where you only see her arms.
Yeah.
Like it's trying to hide who it is versus just showing her with the gun. But I guess it's just a style choice. But yeah, so in the end, she I think she successfully lands the part because she's like Audra in a nut house.
Yeah.
The first chick went there to audition, and now this girl's got the part. She's the real Audra.
Yeah.
In the end.
That's cool.
So she definitely got the part.
She got it.
She definitely embodied whoever the hell Audra is.
Yes.
We don't know. But awesome mask, awesome doll.
Very, very cool.
Cool plot. Kaylee brought up some good points that makes this even deeper than I originally thought it was. So a damn good addition to the slasher genre. And we get 2 killers in this for the price of 1. and one's
And they're not
just
working together.
nope.
They're
They're
not.
just it's a
Yeah.
passion. It's a crime of passion.
Yeah.
And then the other girl is also a crime of passion, but a premeditated
Yeah.
crime of passion versus just reactive in the moment. Yeah, a really cool one, and definitely one that people should watch more. I'm gonna look to see if this has a Blu-ray, a good transfer, because this is a really good looking movie, and
Yes.
I'd like to get a really good copy of it for the future.
Yeah.
So that's that. Anything more?
Nope.
All right.